So welcome to the Complete Cobblers podcast with me, Dave Lalor.
And me, John Rhodes.
And here we are for episode 2.
Yes, indeed, we've survived and we've come up with some more amazing facts, figures and conversation to enthrall you and entertain you.
We have, and I'm very chuffed with how the first episode gone, aren't you?
Yeah,
People listening from all over the place.
Yeah.
Got the States, different places in the States, Canada, Ireland, and then obviously the UK. But yeah, chuffed. And some great bit of feedback as well on the socials. We had, although I'm not sure about this first one, loved it. I vote for John for the joke there.
Yeah, no, that drink worked when I bribed him.
Brilliant. Can't wait for the next one. First episode, brilliant. Oh, this with Dino. I know this is maybe a cooking segment and I have to make a banger of a curry. Well, he probably needs to speak to our guest today. And first episode reminded me of two old men in the Muppet Show.
Yeah, I think that was a bit disrespectful. I don't know who that came from. I believe it might have been an old school friend.
Yeah, enjoy it. Keep it up, lads. He did say at the end. But,
yeah.
Fair enough.
I did look at the old men from the Muppets and actually do resemble them more than just how we spoke.
Waldorf and Stat.
Yeah.
So we've got, once again, through the socials and what have you, we've got a big long list of topics there. I mean, actually, this is funny really, because obviously I put the podcast down, try and get it around a half-hour mark, so you end up cutting bits out, and so the bit I cut out, when we were talking about phones listening, and you were on about an immersion tank,
yeah,
and then you said all over Amazon was ice bath.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, which I actually cut out, and you said, but and weirdly, it was linked to London, Scotland. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I do, yeah, because it popped up about some ice baths.
Which now makes sense, because he emailed him talk about the benefits of cold water therapy, ice bath, and his son Daniel, who's a smashing lad, has got this site vikingicebaths.com.au, and so having looked at it now, they're a massive thing. It seems to be that cold water therapy is huge.
Yeah.
If you just look it up, and maybe I'll have to do it myself, because it says one of the benefits is blood pressure. It can bring your blood pressure down, which is
I think that's as you freeze. That's what it does.
It
puts
does
you into
move.
a state of
no, but it's. I mean, really, I do kind of know this crap because I'm quite into Anthony Robbins. Do you know Anthony Robbins? Do you know of him?
No.
You ever see the film Shallow Hal? No, never mind. Anyway, he's a bit of a motivational. It's actually, if you look on Netflix, there's a thing called I'm Not Your Guru, and that's Anthony Robbins. But so I've been to two of these in 2007 and again in 2017. I think time I went with Mel. Cost you quite a lot of money. It lasts 4 days. It's at the Excel in London. There's like 13,000 people there, and you on the first night you walk barefoot on hot coal, burning around about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
So it's quite a thing, but it's about health, all sorts of stuff. But the last time I went with Mel, on the second day there was a presentation from Wim Hof, he's the ice guy. He's the bloke who does he pioneers all this. He does the swimming under ice, sheet and all that. Yeah. So and now when I was looking, it seems that what they're saying is that you should they're into going from hot to cold, so going from a sauna into an ice plunge, and out of that and back into a sauna. And apparently there's a lot of research to say that there's a lot of health benefits from it. I mean, I think it's fair to say that, you're old and you've got an heart condition.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps don't jump into it. But yeah, that Wim Hof, he says start by turning your shower cold and seeing if you can stand in it for a minute.
Yeah.
Build yourself up. Yours was more about supporting your disc, wasn't it?
Yeah, just sort of hanging in water. He wants so much about the cold water. But then again, I know that like sportsmen and some animals, I think horses as well, they do, when they've had injury, they do put them into ice baths and things which seem to...
Inflammation, yeah. I mean, obviously, when like Arsene Wenger came over and went to Arsenal, nobody had ever, I mean, English footballers used to finish and go for a beer, do you know what I mean? Like, and
amongst other things.
Yeah, but he came in and changed the diet and all that, but they had to go in ice baths straight after the match.
Yeah.
But it has been shown to improve recovery and bring down inflammation and all that, but it seems to do a lot of other stuff as well.
Well, we could actually, I'll message her after this week and get to see if we can get to contribute. Nettie Hardacre, she has her own Facebook about I think is the main event or the main side. It's about, she's very much into crystals and things. But I noticed last week that she got this big ice bath out in her back garden, and she was saying about how she was going to be diving in it. So I know she's away on a retreat this weekend, and that involved hot and cold water treatments and going out swimming and all this kind of thing. So yeah, maybe we should get somebody to do it.
Yeah, tell us a bit more.
On my side of the immersion tanks, I've been barred from B&Q now. I tried to get in the big 360-gallon one, but they were in a nice display, and unfortunately they all fell over, which caused a bit of a mayhem in the garden centre. So I do apologise to the B&Q at Keighley. And, I was only trying it out. I didn't fill it with water. There was a step ladder handy, so it wasn't like I tried to climb in without a ladder. But anyhow, I think it's open again now anyhow, so. And I have been back in this morning, but I went in a different guise.
Right. Okay, so we've reached the point where, which was your idea, John, that we spotlight on a charity week.
Yeah.
And last week it was Friends of Myrtle Park.
Yep, that was good.
So this week we thought, let's do a local charity that I know very well, and we're very pleased to have Lashman Singh with us. Hello, Lash.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Okay, Lash, so do you want to give us a little bit of the history of it?
If you remember, we were having a drink one Sunday afternoon in a pub in Clayton, and what name of pub for 30 years, I can't remember.
Paradise Farm?
Paradise Farm, yeah. So we're having a drink in there, as we normally did, and we're chatting away, and we were talking about superheroes. So we decided we couldn't be superheroes. I might have been a bit overweight then, so that definitely out of the question. Anyway, so we decided we'd be community heroes. That seemed a bit easier for us. As we were discussing and talking various options as to what we were going to do in the community, we decided to do a charity. We'd call it Bradford Curry Project, of all the names in the world, because Bradford's quite a famous town in England where curry houses are concerned. And not only that, most of the white people in Bradford and elsewhere go for a curry. Chicken tikka masala seems to be the number one spot on a Sunday afternoon for lunch in Bradford. I don't know about elsewhere.
Well, only thing is, though, you don't want any catchy roti.
No, definitely not. Uncooked patties, we definitely we don't want any of them. They'd be a bit doughy, wouldn't they?
Like my Hindi there, John.
Yeah, we don't. It's like
if they were dough, then I'd have to use a chamcha.
That's right. Yeah, that's if you can't use your fingers. So anyway, we used to do stuff for Bradford Festival, some really daft stuff, like cooking for people on a Sunday. I don't just mean cooking for 10 and 20 and 30. We're talking 100 or maybe more, on a Sunday. That was on a Sunday afternoon for festival at the Bradford Day Shelter. So we do daft stuff like that, and boats on the lake and that sort of daft stuff.
I once cooked one instead of lash, right? Yeah. So I did this lamb curry, didn't I?
Immense, yeah.
And they were giving it, you can tell, a proper authentic.
It was Dave that cooked it.
It's down to guy who taught him, I imagine, lash.
Yeah. So anyway, we started this project, and I had a lot of allocation to food
donations.
When people give you food and donations, access.
Access,
a lot of access to food, especially from weddings and Sikh temples all over Bradford. They seem to cook for millions.
So we used to, when I were in my early 20s, we used to pick me up at bloody crack of dawn on a Sunday after I'd been out on beer all Saturday night. And then we went to all Gurdwaras in Bradford.
Yeah, we pick up.
And everybody donated food from each tent that we put in big buckets and then go feed the homeless.
Down at Dale Shelter. And it was so popular. We then started doing Sunday evening, because there were no food on the streets 30 years ago. There was only the day shelter in Bradford, the soup run, and the Sardinians used to go out with sandwiches for people, and that were about really it. Life Abundant Church. They used to do Saturday evenings as well. But rest of the time, on an evening time, there were no food. And we started going in back of a van and taking pasting tables to John Street Market in the entrance there next to a famous jeweller shop in Bradford. So we stayed there for a while. The city centre management that had complaints as regarding unruly behaviour by our clients. We ended up in an Anglican chaplaincy. And as soon as we went inside, I'll tell a lie, before we went to Anglican chaplaincy, a very nice gentleman from the Muslim Eid Committee, or Mr. Hussein, morning, Nazir Hussain. He came to join us. Yeah, NH Hardware. He came to join us, so he started feeding people, and he had really load of access to food. He was very well known in the Muslim community in Bradford and all his charity work he did, and he was a great ally to us all the time. And he still helps out his son. Over 30 years now they've been doing it. So we went on from there.
Okay, so that concludes part 1 of the interview with Lashman Singh. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll do 2 more 5-minute segments because he's just such an interesting guy. And 5 minutes in, we've just got to the establishment of the Curry Project in Bradford. That is not only, but that is a precursor to the biggest charity he set up. So he's a fascinating guy, and we'll finish the interview in 2 more 5-minute chunks over the next 2 weeks. Okay, John, what's next?
Well, it's not even on the list, but today I saw on Facebook a pub that you probably well know, the Corn Dolly in Bradford. Yeah. It's 30 years the same family have been running it now, and it just popped up today that they were sort of celebrating the 30 years running this pub, and it just made me think about how from when the pub companies took over, how many pubs have been lost and everything else, and how hard it is to run a pub these days. And for them to keep that going for 30 years, I mean, it's always been had a good reputation for the last 40 years.
We used to go in, we used to sort of go in Corn Dolly and ring a bell.
Would have been 20, 21. Do you remember the old lass who used to play on piano?
Linda.
Yeah.
Play Ovaltines, but when she finished with Ovaltines.
Yeah. When it were old. And yet she was not but a 5-foot lady, was she? But she kept control of that pub and it could be packed. And So, I'd just like a bit of a shout out to the Corn Dolly and that family. I didn't read any more of it. And I started thinking about when the pub companies took over which was a government, I think Mrs. Thatchers was in at the time, that said that the breweries had too much power because they owned all the pubs, Webster's, John Smith's and all these. They owned thousands of pubs, so they had too much power, so she restricted how many breweries could have, which then the uprise came of the pub companies, who then owned thousands of pubs because they bought them as just buildings, and then the demise set in, really. And anyhow, they're probably not a thing we should start talking about pub companies, because I would keep you going on about them for a few hours, and I ain't got much good to say about them.
Well, maybe we can, when we talk about your health at some point, maybe we can cover that. Just a little thing though, what you said, you were on about Lady Thatcher, Margaret. When they made her, because she was Baroness for a while, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was,
made a lady, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I always thought that sounded like some woman's pubic hair device, a Lady Thatcher.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine they could come up with some fancy designs depending on how the suit you were. A Lady Thatcher.
For the hairy woman.
Yeah, for the hairy woman in your life.
By the Lady Thatcher.
I wonder if it would be like pigtails. Anyhow,
Okay. So, I tell you what, shall we do the factoids?
Go on then.
Dead skin cells are the main ingredient in household dust.
And did you know that there is enough gold inside the Earth, which is thousands and thousands of feet thick? Now that's just taking you back a few years.
I know, Reggie Kalinowski. Thousands and thousands of feet thick.
So there's enough gold inside the Earth to coat the entire planet.
Wow. Australia is wider than the moon?
Wider than the moon. Right. And these are the ones I really like, because these are great little factoids. M&Ms are named after the businessmen who created them, Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray.
Onto that, I never knew
So
that.
you could have been having F&Bs. Or B&Fs.
F and Jeff.
F and Jeff,
At any point in time, 0.7% of the world's population is drunk.
Baked beans are not actually baked.
A snail can sleep for 3 years.
And the name for the Pringles shape is a hyperbolic paraboloid. Paraboloid.
I'm glad you took that one.
Yeah, thanks for that. I noticed you've done it so that it came as an odd. Yeah.
You can eat the stickers on fruit. The adhesive used for fruit stickers and the paper is edible. However, don't forget to wash it first.
So yeah, that's good. So I don't have to actually peel it off then. I can just eat.
Apparently
that.
so.
But surely you'd have to eat the skin of the fruit then.
Yeah, so maybe an apple.
All right, yeah, but not like a banana.
I don't think so. In fact, do you remember Eddie Reed? God rest his soul. Do you remember him?
Do I remember Eddie Reed?
Yeah, and he was a character, wasn't he?
He was.
He used to be in our classroom, and he was the original punk, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he just drove the teachers mental, didn't he? He'd come in because we had the grammar school, a very strict dress policy and all that, and he'd come in a kilt and spiky hair and It once came with the biggest sort of thick car park chain all wrapped around his neck, and then he'd clicked the padlock shut and locked it, and then he threw a key out at window and bust. And they were like, they wouldn't let him go home because they knew that's what he wanted. You know, they keep him in sick bay all day, like, and they'd be like Lazenby trying to cut it off without cutting his head off. So yeah, we're a character, but he once came in, like, and he seemed to be totally off his box on something or other. And what have you been taking, Ed? And he said toasted banana skin. So the inside of them, I don't know how he discovered it, but if you toasted it, it became some kind of hallucinogenic.
All right.
So I mean, it worked. Bloody that skull. What carry on? Did you ever get the strap?
Oh, loads of times, yeah.
That were just psychological bloody. It was. They'd send you for it, so you had to go and get it off Earnshaw. So that were worst bit, wasn't it? You had to go and sign it out, and then so you can't like sneak it back weird because it were wrapped around a huge lump of wood, wasn't it? Yeah. And that were all about the embarrassment.
It had a book with it.
Yeah. But then it was on this lump of wood, so you couldn't hide it, and you're walking back through school. You have to take it back to your farm to get strapped, and everybody's going, and it was just psychological bloody. I don't think you finished last factoid, to be honest.
Oh no, I didn't actually. Do you know that there is a McDonald's in every continent except Antarctica? Now we did a quiz not long back. And do you know what the second most, the biggest chain is? That's got more branches everywhere after McDonald's.
Burger King. Yeah. Is it fast food now?
It is a fast food.
Pizza Hut.
Nope.
No, go on then.
Subway.
How is it?
Yeah.
Well, did you know then that? Because I remember, I mean, you've probably seen the film now. They did that film, didn't they, about Ray Kroc and McDonald's starting. I don't know if you saw it. It came out like last year.
Yeah. I haven't seen much.
And because he basically ripped off the McDonald's brothers, did Ray Kroc. He were an ice cream salesman.
All right.
And then he come across this, they'd come up with this idea of how to put food in little cartons and to, have areas that have fast, quick, tasty food and all that. These brothers had come up with the idea, and he wanted to steal the idea and franchise it, basically. But I'd seen years ago, watching the Business Channel on Sky, Ray Kroc were on it before he croaked, and he says to these, so it were like sixth formers kind of thing, and he says to him, or maybe even starting uni, and he said, what is my principle of my business? What is it that we do? And they were all like, burgers, like. So he said, "Come on, there's no wrong answers." So this lad says, "Well, fast food." He said, "Well, that's certainly what we do, and that's but my business is based upon land acquisition,
right?
Because they own the land. When you buy a franchise, McDonald's gets the land,
right?
And it's, if you think about where it is around the world, prime, and they are the second biggest, if they've not overtaken them by now, at least they were then, the second biggest landowner in the world behind the Catholic Church.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So big long list. What are you thinking?
Right. Wasps. What's the point?
What's the point in a wasp? Are you saying it doesn't? Because bees are important. Is that what?
Yeah, bees. I love bees. Bees are great. A bee will bumble around.
Now then, did you know the difference between a bee and a bumblebee?
Yeah.
One
bumbles and one just bees. No.
Bumblebees have nests in grass.
Oh, right.
So if you suddenly come across their bumblebee,
right,
and bees have proper nests,
yeah,
hanging in
hives and that.
Hives and but a bumblebee nests in grass.
Right. I didn't know that. But you can nudge a bee and they go, "Okay, it was an accident. I'll just leave you alone." And they want to go for flowers. They're not bothered about your smelly, sugary drink or whatever else you've got. A wasp, it's pissed off, it doesn't like you, and it wants your sugary drink, and it's prepared to kill you to get to it.
Better kill itself.
What?
When they sting?
No. A
when
wasp survives. It's a bee that kills itself.
Is it a bee that rips its ass off?
Yeah. A wasp can just come and have another go. As far as I'm aware,
right?
If you know better.
I hear one of them they die when they've stung you.
Yeah. So a bee, it's an important thing to a bee. It thinks.
So bees are obviously super important, and they're pollinating.
Yeah.
But so wasps don't pollinate, don't you think?
What's that? Don't know. I've yet to find out what a wasp actually does.
Right.
So if anybody knows, please email in. Let us know.
What's the point of that?
Wasp. Yeah. And don't be waspish about it. Just tell us what you think.
Okay. You never did a joke. You got voted for...
Oh, did I? All right. Oh, it's very...
Go on then.
Right. So there's three guys... No, I'm going to say... There's three guys.
Oh, guys.
Right.
Thank God for that.
They're working.
No, have to go.
And they're working on a New York skyscraper. You know, where the classic photo with them all on the beam, and they're all sat there. And unfortunately, one's Irish, one's Scottish, one's English. I can't help that. It's a joke from the 1960s, 70s. Right. And I can't change it into anything that's not. You could change it into wherever you want. So they clambers up every morning. They've got the lunchbox and they've got the top and the flasks and everything. And they're sat there and they've been on this skyscraper now months. Back up again, lunchbox. And the Scottish guy opens his, and it's Marmite and haggis sandwich, and he's eating it and chomping it, and then gets halfway through and he just throws it. He says, you know what, if I get that again tomorrow, I'm going to follow that sandwich down. He said, I'm sick of Marmite. And so English guy, he opens his and he's got salad with ham on it, and he's like, salad with ham again, I've had enough. He don't even take a bite, just lobs it straight. And Irish guy's like, oh, and he's got cheese and tomato in his sandwich, and he munches it on, and he says, oh, he says, I know what you mean though. He said, I'm sick of it. I says, you know what? He says, if I get that again, like you two, I'm going to jump off. So next day, they all clambers up, gets there, and Scottish one opens his, still saying, got what he want now. I give some Marmite sandwich. Takes a bite. It doesn't look, he says, I hope it's different, I hope it's different. Takes a bite out. Hey, Jay. Anyhow, he says something Scottish, and it just dives off. Boom, gone. And English looks like, bloody hell, I didn't... He said, well, he said, we sort of made a pact, didn't it? And Irish guy goes, oh, yeah. So he does the same, gets his sandwich out. He thinks, oh, I can feel lettuce. Oh, no. He takes a bite. Bloody ham salad. Jumps off. Irish bloke. Well, see what mine is like. Takes a bite. Cheese and tomato again. Jumps off. So all wives get together. And they're all like, all stood there and they have a joint funeral. And Scottish wife's sobbing. He says, you know, if he'd have only said to me, I've had enough of this, I'd have made him something different. And English guy, he says, well, yeah, same. He said, you know, I got corned beef, I got all sorts. He could have had all different. And the Irish woman's just looking a bit bemused. And they said, you know, are you not upset about your husband? And that? She says, I don't really understand it because he makes his own sandwiches. Thank you.
Oh, dear.
I can't hear any applause.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Oh dear, I didn't even get. Shall I tell you just a very quick, just a quick one-liner?
Yeah. You better do it on, make it short.
So me and Mel watched 3 Netflix films back to back last night.
Yeah.
And luckily, I was the one facing the telly.
yeah. I think yours is better. Time-wise, yours gets a bit more last person.
Yeah, I just cut it in quickly. Okay. Are we going to introduce your... But you have to guess. Well, maybe we can do it afterwards, I guess. But so we were going to come up with a little feature which you're going to call Curdle.
Curdle. Oh, yes, yeah. It's ideally what the plan is that we're going to engage you in this little feature where we're going to give you clues. Is this the one where we're going to give them clues?
Yeah, what kind of where I thought. So obviously it's kind of based obviously off Wordle.
Yeah.
But so you'll think of a 5-letter word. 5 or 6?
It's 5 letters.
5 letter. Yeah. You'll think of a 5-letter word, and through the socials and what have you, people can have a guess, which like you do on Wordle, you start off, you have a guess, and I think what we'll do is not everybody's, but maybe we'll get 1 or 2. So Jim says this, and Jean has guessed a towel, and she's got 1 right in the right place. And maybe give them 2 or 3 people's and say so that to give them a clue.
Yeah.
Now, if they want, what I thought from the clue kind of thing, is it depends how you want to be. I think we could give clues in the show notes, and then that way, if you don't want clues, you don't look at them. If you do want clues, we'll put a clue in the show notes.
Yeah.
So we'll start this week. You'll dream up a 5-letter word.
Yeah.
So we just need people now to just, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, X, every one of the handles is at Cobblers Podcast, or you can email us at completecobblers@gmail.com. So any one of them channels, just have your first guess at a 5-letter word,
Yeah.
We'll pick 2 or 3 out and we'll say, that's in the right place, or this, they've got one in the right place, one in the wrong place, they've got 3 letters that are not in it, that kind of thing, from 2 or 3.
Yeah, but where we'll be a little bit more specific than Twordle is they say no proper names or proper nouns, is it, and names and things like that. Well, like this morning's Wordle was Sally. Now, a Sally is also an advancement into a battle.
Yes.
And this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to be as contentious as that. So we won't have Sally because it's a name of a girl as well.
Yeah.
So ours will be very specific, as in it will be present tense. So there won't be anything that's in the past. So it won't be like given or something like that, and it won't be like a name of a city or a town or something like that. It will be just a general word that will have no ambiguity about it. Yeah. But I don't know. When I did my degree, I did it in obviously English literature. But what my dissertation was about utopia and dystopia.
Oh yeah.
So basically, what you consider a utopia, maybe somebody else's dystopia.
Sure.
But one of the books I read is from Marshall Bergman, and it's called "Everything That Is Solid Melts into Air." And it's basically saying that everything is a construct, nothing is real. And I'm going to finish on that, and I'm going to bring you this book next week, and I'd like to discuss at some point how nothing, what you consider real, is not real, it's a construct.
Mm.
So,
well, even like, if you think about it, countries are a construct. We've just agreed that this patch of land is, that we're English.
Exactly, yeah. It's like Disneyland is a construct. We all know that is a construct. Yeah. It doesn't exist. And people go, yeah, it does, because you can get tickets and go there. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
No.
So what is real? What
does
exist?
That brings me back to, I know you've not heard of him, but Tony Robbins.
I know Tony Robinson, Blackhead.
No. Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, the guy that where I walked on hot coals.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So he had a guy, early days. So like he's had this Wim Hof now, the guy who's the Iceman, right? But also used to bring on a guy who I really liked. You can find him on LinkedIn and what have you. Deepak Chopra. So he's, yeah, right. So he's a qualified doctor, and I think he were at Yale or one of these universities, and he's Indian, but he was a conventional doctor, but he got into what they call Ayurvedic medicine, mind-body medicine, so the body has an effect on the mind has an effect on the body. And so one of the examples he gives, which I think is dead interesting, is, so if I went on the Nemesis with somebody who really...
I have been on that.
Right, well, there you go. So if you went on there with somebody who really likes rides, me and him, we set off and we have a 3-4 minute ride. Now, we're going through the same events, right? We're seeing the same things, but we're having completely different experiences. So if he's absolutely loving it, it produces endorphins and all these literally like cancer-fighting drugs in his body. And at the same time, I'm producing cortisol and adrenaline, and it's attacking my immune system, and it's having a go at my heart. And we're both producing completely different biological reactions.
Yeah.
Because our experience of the same events are completely different.
Yeah, that does bring on to like what's a lot of the doctor surgeries and that doing now, which is called social practitioning, which is basically people, maybe mainly middle-aged to old age, mainly people who've suffered bereavement, this, that and the other, but they become isolated. And by becoming isolated, they don't go out, they don't do this, and they're basically killing themselves because they don't go out. They don't get those rushes of the feelings they should, the endorphins.
Yeah.
So now the doctors, which is a lot where the men in sheds and these other things come in, is that you go to the doctor and say, I don't feel well, and they'll say, why don't you feel well? I just feel down, I feel this, I feel that, my daughter died, my split up, all these kind of things, whatever's gone, traumas in their life. And they try and socially prescribe for them to go to community events and things. Well, it's a major part.
Well, good. Hopefully that's getting better than I.
And I mean, these questions, I've filled loads of it. Have you ever felt like killing yourself? Yes. Have you ever tried it? Yeah, I've tried it twice, but I failed, so I'm not very good at it. Do you feel miserable? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? Yeah. And when people are just wanting a general thing, oh no, I feel okay. And you go, well, actually, no, I don't. I feel pretty crap.
Mm.
They're like, whoa, hang on a minute, you're really... I said, no, I'm actually just telling you the truth. Nobody else tells you the truth. You know, when I went to the doctor and said, well, how much do you drink? I said, 25 pints a day. Whoa, hang on a minute. And they're pulling the slides out. They're going, that's impossible. I said, well, you asked me a question, I told you the truth. Yeah, but nobody tells me the truth. Well, I have. And like, you're not right in your head. But going back to the endorphin thing, one last thing. I stopped drinking and I lost that buzz, that feeling of what. And I went to see this counsellor once and I said to her, I said, right, I said, you know, alcohol, fine, don't need it. I said, but I'm missing that buzz. I said, and without taking illegal drugs and that, because I don't want to start down that road, don't want to. I said, what can I do that's going to give me that feeling, that buzz back? And you know what she said? She said, be nice. So I went out of there, and there was an old lady struggling with a trolley in Copeland, in Bingley. And she's struggling with this trolley on a sloping car park. And I went, I said, here, I'll give you an hand, love. I got trolley, held it by a car boot. And as she opened the boot, I ran off with a trolley. No, I didn't. So we loaded all the stuff into the car. And she was a little old lady. And she said, oh, thank you ever so much. Thank you very much. And I said, right, I'll take your trolley back for you. Took trolley back, got a pound. I said, here's your pound there, love. She said, I want you to keep that. She said, you've really made my day helping me like that. And I said, I don't need your pound, love. I said, no, I've done it as... And she said, no, please keep it. You've really made me day. And I've still got that pound. And it's my lucky pound.
Yeah.
It buzzed me all day.
Yeah.
And even talking about it now, I can just feel it making me feel good.
Yeah.
So now, every day, I try and do good things.
Yeah. Well, we've just added a shared an example of, with Lashman.
With Lash there, listening to Lash, and it made me feel warm. And then I realised I'd wet myself. But you know this doctor you wrote about, Deepak, he's got a brother, hasn't he?
He could have. Deepak Chopra, I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is a Tetra Pak. And on that one, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.